Cloud architect, cloud engineer, two exceptionally good careers. But if you want to be successful in either one, you're going to have to choose one. If you want to know why, then this video is for you. Hi, my name is Michael Gibbs, and I'm the founder and CEO of Go Cloud Architects, and we're an organization that's dedicated towards building high-performance cloud computing careers. Personally, I've been working in technology for over 25 years, and I've been coaching or mentoring others to get their first tech job or get promoted in tech for over 2 decades. And today we're going to talk about why the cloud architect is not a cloud engineer. And these are both really great positions, and I want to make sure you understand that I like the cloud engineering position and the cloud architect position. But these careers are so different, and I want you to know why they must be so different and why the training must be so different. Because if you want to get a cloud architect job or a cloud engineer job, you need to be competent for that job. But why must these careers just be so different? See, it all starts out with our focus. See, we cloud architects, our job, our focus is to transform an organization's business through technology. And whether that's process redesign, new websites, it's technology, that's our tool. But see, we architects are really tasked with, our focus is transforming our customer's business. So that must be our focus. And focus is everything. Because if you're focusing on the wrong thing, you can't attack the problem. So let's talk more about focus. And let's really look at focus for just 1 minute. I'm going to prove to you why you can't focus on 2 things at the same time. I'd like you to go outside and look at something at a distance. And note, it's going to be small, but you're going to have this big picture, big field of view. Now, go take some binoculars, magnify it. Note, the people and things you're going to look at, they're going to be bigger because your focus is on them, but you're not going to see as much around you. Now, go take a telescope with 200 times magnification and go look at it. You can see a smile on somebody's face, but guess what? You can't see much more than that. So you go from big picture to medium picture to laser-like focus. And focus changes everything. So zoom in, you can work on all the details. Zoom out, you can see the big picture. So now let's talk about the architect focus. And we'll also talk about the engineer focus, because the focus, what we actually need to be focused on, will determine the job that we do. An architect needs that big picture view. Whether you're designing a cloud architecture or hotel, you need to look at the big picture. But let's say, for an example, an architect is designing this big, tall, beautiful hotel. It's going to be 1,000 meters tall. The architect is going to focus on the design. Now, when the architect designs this big and beautiful building, sure, there's probably going to be some grass and some lush gardens and some beautiful landscaping and flowers and things. It's going to be part of the overall big picture. But the architect is not going to be planting the grass. Why is the architect going to be focusing on this big 1,000-meter building and not the grass? See, it's not that the architect's too good to plant the grass, but if you're staring at the grass, you can't see the building. So whatever you're focused on, that will determine what you can affect. That will determine where your outcomes are going to be, your focus. So as an architect, we need to be big picture. How do the parts fit together? What is the future state that we can envision? How do we envision the people working? And how is the technology going to impact the workflow? How does the technology make that business better? How will our technology affect user behavior? Can we affect sales? What kind of things can we transfer? So then we need to think about those goals. And then how do we find technologies that'll do it? But for all of this to happen, we need to be not on that telescope. We need to be looking at that big picture. We need to be zoomed out, big picture. Because the second we zoom in, we lose the vision, the focus of everything. So an architect, by very nature, needs to be big picture. So now let's talk about a cloud engineer. The engineer builds the design that they've been given. The cloud architect designs it. The cloud engineer builds it. So the cloud engineer needs to be building these things. Now, let's go from where we're looking at something in the distance, we can't see it. Because we can't see it, we can't do anything with it. The cloud engineer needs to build it, so they need to zoom in Now, when they're zoomed in, they can't see anything else. But you need to be zoomed in. And whether you're a surgeon stitching up a patient, or whether you're a cloud engineer, you need to be zoomed in. You need to see what you're doing. So an engineer is focused on details. Engineers have deep, deep, deep technical knowledge, and they need to know those details. But remember, if you're focused on details, you can't see the big picture. So now let's talk about cloud architect training. Cloud architect training is based upon training people for the big picture. It's big picture thinking. It's strategy thinking. So it's how do I design the end-to-end solution? What talks to what, which talks to what, which talks to what, which talks to what? Where's the connectivity need to be? That's big picture thinking. That's architect thinking. What are our tools as architects? Our biggest tool is our ability to ask questions, our communication skills. So what are we going to do? We have to learn how to ask the right questions. Not knowing how to ask the right questions, we'll never get the right information. So we have to learn how to ask the right questions. That is our tool. We have to learn about the business. Remember, our whole point is to transform a customer's business. So we need to focus on the business as a whole. But if we don't know business, how do we transform business? So an architect needs business acumen because they need to transform the business. You can't transform something you don't know. That is our acumen. That is our technical competency. We need to know that business. Then we'll be delivering presentations constantly. Presentations to customers, board members, industry conferences. That's our world. And to do this and to go communicate with CEOs and CFOs and CTOs all day long and CIOs, we need executive presence. So we need to train that for the architect. And we also need to be emotionally intelligent. And we need to write and be CXO relevant. So this is cloud architect training because that's what we do. Now, note, most of these skills, in fact, all the skills that I said, except end-to-end system design, are non-technical. Now, end-to-end system design, that is a very technical skill and it's a deep skill. But all those other skills are listed are non-technical because the focus of the architect is not on technical, it's on transformation. The tech is just our way to achieve that. It's our vehicle. So, for we architects, in our real world lives, we don't configure anything, we don't build anything. And why? If we're planting the grass, we can't see the skyscraper. So we're not going to be writing Python scripts. We're not going to be doing maintenance after it's been built. That's sysops. We're not going to be automating software release. That's DevOps. We're not going to code anything. We're going to be mostly non-technical, except for how are we solving those business problems with technology. And that takes substantial technical knowledge. I don't want you to think I'm making light of it when I say it's less technical. It's a very technical job, but it's 50% business and it's 50% technical. Now let's shift over to the cloud engineer because the way you would train a cloud architect as an executive, as well as an end-to-end system designer with business acumen and executive presence and communication skills. That's great for system design. But what about someone who has to build things, the cloud engineer? Well, this is not the right training for the cloud engineer. This is how you train a cloud architect. The cloud engineer is trained a very different way because they have a different focus. The cloud engineer, by very definition, needs to be zoomed into that telescope because you can't build it when you're not focused. So let's look at this role. This means the engineer is about how much knowledge they have, but it's about their technical abilities. So the engineers need to know the speeds, the performance metrics, all the idiosyncrasies, all the details. Their life is focused on the details. Look, the architect gives big picture design, but if somebody doesn't know those details and doesn't build with the details, it doesn't work. The cloud engineer is that detail person. It's that super technical person. So whether it's Python scripts or whether it's Bash scripts or whether it's other forms of coding or infrastructure as code or whether that be Terraform or CloudFormation or whether it be the command line or the management console or the API, this is cloud engineer work. This is deep hands-on technical work because they have to be focused on building it. They have to be zoomed in. Architect zoomed out, focused on business and the technology enabling the business. Engineer zoomed in. How do I build that? And that's why these two jobs are so different. So if you want to get hired, you need to be what the industry needs, but you also need the brand. See, when you look at two identical items, if one is a name brand and one is generic, people will usually pay more for the name brand. When it comes to getting your first cloud architect job or changing transitions or even getting paid more in between jobs, the better your brand, the better you're paid. Whether it be a car, a computer, you build your brand. So what is the brand of a cloud architect? It is a strategic consultant. It is a business consultant that's also a technology expert. A business consultant that helps your organization be more successful with tech. So, a business consultant that helps an organization be with tech. So, anything that's part of your brand needs to show you're good. So if you've got some business acumen and it's out there and it's seen, that's great. Anything that shows your ability to transform information or successful customers is great. If you're giving presentations or writing books, this kind of thing is great for the Cloud Architect brand. If you've got a small number of highly focused certifications, maybe a cloud networking person, for example, a CCIA like me that's a Google Professional Cloud Architect like me, that's a very strong Cloud Architect brand, especially for a Cloud Network Architect. The highest networking certification in the world and probably the highest one of the highest equivalent of the cloud certifications. That looks good for a Cloud Architect. Why don't I have 1,000 other certifications? As an architect, well, what is my brand? My brand is a business strategist who's an expert with technology. I have 2 technology things. I'm not going to get 20 more certifications because if I do, it shows the customer that I am focused on certifications and not business transformation. I'm going to do business things to make it as my brand. I'm going to present in front of large audiences. Maybe I get an MBA, which I did. This is the Cloud Architect brand, the executive brand, the leader brand. So if you want to build your brand, build your brand. If you want to be a cloud architect, don't get certifications that are not in your brand. It will lower your value because it will decrease people's ability to see you as a business transformation specialist when they're going to see you for every other tech career. Now, let's say you're a cloud engineer. We need to build a different brand for you. We need to build you that technical brand. We need to show that you've got deep technical knowledge. So for the engineer, lots of certifications can be very beneficial. No, not too many because it makes a career look unfocused. But 4 or 5 certifications for an engineer might be really good. Now, for the engineer, if they have some of these architect skills, the communication skills, the leadership skills, the emotional intelligence, the writing skills, well, that can have a big impact on the engineer's career, very much over the long term. Either moving towards architecture careers, albeit with a change of focus, or moving up towards leadership careers. But the key is, when you're an engineer, you must be focused on the details, because if you're not, you can't be successful. So, if you want to be a cloud architect or a cloud engineer, I encourage you, because these are some of the best careers in the world right now. But when it comes to your training, know that the training must be different. If you're a cloud architect, you must focus on the transformation. You must focus on your business acumen, your communication skills, your leadership skills, your executive presence, your end-to-end design skills. And that's what'll get you hired. Now, if you're a cloud engineer, you need to be able to build all these things. So you need these strong engineering certifications. And on top of that, you want to be on that command line and you want to be on that management console and you want to be learning your Python and you want to be learning your Bash scripts and you want to be really good at Linux and infrastructure and coders, all these things. Why? Because that's your job. So the key is plan for your job. So when people say, Mike, if I study all these engineering things, won't it make me a better architect? And I say, no, because you're focused on one thing. And then when the architects say, should I study more engineering things? I say, no, focus on more of these things that are more related to your transformation. But if an architect sort of wanted to be an engineer, I'd say, well, focus on those technology things because those deeper tech and those technology skills are what matters. The point is, train for the career you want and you're going to have it. Be exactly ready for the job and you will get it. So go out there and get the career of dreams. This is Michael Gibbs from Go Cloud Architects. I look forward to seeing you in another video. Take care. It was so nice having you join us for this video today. Let me tell you about some free services we do for the cloud community. Once per week, we actually have a free question and answer session live on YouTube, where you can come and ask us any questions you want about building your career related to cloud computing or networking, and we'll answer them in real time for you because we want to get you to your goals. Several more times per week, we have guests from industry. industry experts that I have known for decades that are movers and shakers that have changed the world, that can give you information so you can build the best career. I invite them periodically. They are on my show. If there's a chance to do some free training on our channel, we'll do it live because we want you to all to have the best skills for the best career. So please subscribe and hit the bell. I look forward to seeing you, and I look forward to assisting you in your technology career. Thank you so much. This is Michael Gibbs from GoCloud Architects.